In FIFA 20, Raheem Sterling was 88 overall with 90 potential. Fast forward 5 years later and he is now 79 overall with just 79 potential. Today we save Raheem Sterling's career. And here he is, of course, on loan at Arsenal from Chelsea, coming in at a 79 overall at the start, which of course means Raheem Sterling needs training massively to get that overall back up. Kicking off the first game of the season for Raheem Sterling, and of course he is coming on as a substitute in the 58th minute. Arsenal did manage to score a lovely little goal here from Kai Havertz into Bukayo Saka, who managed to slot it home, of course, to make it 1-0 for Arsenal. No involvement from Sterling in that goal though. Although later on Raheem Sterling was trying his best, managing to dribble through their defence, although he did get tackled last minute. Although later on in the game, Raheem Sterling actually managed to score a goal very late on in the 90th minute to secure the win for Arsenal, making it 2-0. Of course, managing to win the game at 2-0, and Raheem Sterling walking away with a pretty solid 8.1 match rating. Second game of the season, and we did come up against Aston Villa, although it was not a good day at the office for Arsenal, as Ollie Watkins did get through, managing to chip the keeper and making it 2-0 here for Aston Villa. Raheem Sterling though trying his best to get back into this game, whipping the ball here into the box, although nobody managed to get onto the end of it. Saka tried an overhead kick, but it wasn't really good. And later on, Sterling managing to get through, although it was saved by the keeper, and the game did end at 2-0 to Aston Villa. And Raheem Sterling walking over a pretty mediocre 6.5 match rating this game. Third game of the season, and Raheem Sterling is still trying to break into the first 11, as he is still coming on as a substitute. And he was trying his best, although his first chance of the game was not very good at all. A lovely chance, but he did miss it. Although later on, Raheem Sterling did have a nice pass into the box, and he did capitalise, as he did make it 1-0 to Arsenal. And that was the goal that actually won the game here for Arsenal, beating Brighton 1-0. And he did finish this game with a nice 7.2, so a little bit better, a bit of an improvement from the last game. Fourth game of the season, and Raheem Sterling is still trying his best to push into that starting 11, as we do have the North London derby up against Tottenham. And it was a pretty good game again for Raheem Sterling, managing to slot through Kai Havertz, who got through on goal, and of course he did put it into the back of the net very late on in this game to get an assist for Raheem Sterling, and managing to win the game at 1-0. Also walking away with a nice 7.6 match rating and securing his place finally into the starting 11. Moving on now, and we are into the Carabao Cup round of 16 up against Aston Villa, and we did just about manage to get through, beating them 4-3 on penalties. 10 games into the season, and Arsenal not with the best start at the minute, as they are sat in 8th place. And Raheem Sterling at 29 years of age has gone up to an 80 overall. Back into Carabao Cup action and into the quarter-final up against Luton, and we did manage to beat them this time 2-0. Halfway through the season now, and Arsenal have moved up a little bit in the Premier League, up into 6th place. Of course, still in the FA Cup, where we come up against Peterborough, and into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup as we come up against Newcastle United. And the Champions League is not going too bad at all, as we are sat in 7th place. And Raheem Sterling is now up to an 81 overall at 30 years of age. Still room to improve. Also still in the start 11 for Arsenal, and as he is walking away with 11 goals and 5 assists in 31 games. Pretty impressive so far from Raheem Sterling. Into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup as we come up against Newcastle, and we do lose the first game 2-1, and unfortunately we do get knocked out as we lose the second game 3-2 on an aggregate. Moving into the FA Cup now, and we do come up against Manchester United, and we do manage to beat them 2-0. Into the next round of the FA Cup as we come up against Nottingham Forest, and we do manage to beat them in a close game, coming in at 3-2. Into the next round, and we do come up against Chelsea into the semi-finals, and we have a ticket to the final as we beat them 2-0 with Raheem Sterling scoring. Moving into the Champions League now, and we are into the round of 16 up against Barcelona, and we do get completely obliterated in the first leg as we get smashed 4-0. We did try in the second leg, although it was not enough, as we did lose 4-2 on aggregate. Into the FA Cup final though, and we do come up against West Ham, and it was a great start as Raheem Sterling managed to dribble past the defenders and managing to slot it into the back of the net to make it 1-0 in the 18th minute. And later on we did manage to slot through Ødegaard, who got through on goal, and he did put it into the top bins to make it 2-0 for Arsenal, and managing to win the game at 2-0, and of course picking up Raheem Sterling's first trophy of the video. Finishing the season now, and Arsenal unfortunately have not managed to get Champions League football again, as they did finish in 6th place. We did of course manage to win the FA Cup, beating West Ham 2-0. Unfortunately, getting knocked out to winners of the Carabao Cup, Newcastle. And of course, getting knocked out in the round of 16 of the Champions League, getting obliterated by Barcelona. And ending the season, Raheem Sterling is doing pretty impressive, to be fair. Now up to an 84 overall. Definitely improving on his stats, and also walking away with 24 goals and 9 assists in 64 games for Arsenal. I mean, you can't lie, that is very, very impressive stats. Although nobody seems to want to take a risk on Raheem Sterling, so it looks like we are going to be staying at Arsenal. So that of course means season number 2 starts off and we are staying at Arsenal. And we could start off season number 2 strong, as we do have the Community Shield up against Man City. And it was a great start as we did whip the ball past the Saka, and he did score an unbelievable scorpion kick to make it 1-0 for Arsenal. Although Manchester City did answer back with a penalty, where of course Erling Haaland did slot it home to equalise at 1-1. Later on they did get yet another penalty with Erling Haaland, and of course it resulted in yet another goal to make it 2-1. And later on Jack Grealish did find himself through here with a nice little pass, and he did of course manage to put it into the back of the net to make it 3-1 for Manchester City. Raheem Sterling did find himself through on goal later on, and he did put it into the back of the net. However, it would be too late as we did end up losing the game at 3-2. Into the Carabao Cup now, into the round of 16 as we come up against Wolves. And we do manage to beat them 2-0. Into the next round and we do come up against Liverpool. And we do just about manage to get through as we beat them 4-3 on penalties. Halfway through the season now, and Arsenal are doing pretty good this season compared to last, as they are sat in second place, 4 points behind leaders Manchester City. We are of course still in the FA Cup where we come up against Leicester, and of course into the semi-final of the Carabao Cup where we come up against Manchester United. The Europa League though is not going the best, as we are sat in 23rd place. Raheem Sterling though is now up to an 86 overall, of course still growing, also grabbing a nice 13 goals and 9 assists in 32 games so far is pretty good. Of course into the Carabao Cup semi-finals, and we do come up against United, and we do lose the first leg 3-2, although we do manage to get through in the end, as we did end up going through on penalties in what was a very, very close game. Into the final, and we do come up yet again against Manchester City, and this time it did work in our favour. Bukayo Saka starting off the game extremely well, managing to run through their whole defence, basically getting it 1-0 for Arsenal. Also later on, Bukayo Saka through one-on-one with the keeper, and of course there was no doubt about it, he was going to score, as he did make it 2-0. Later on, Jack Grealish did get a consolation goal, as he did make it 3-1. Through a hat-trick from Bukayo Saka, we did of course end up winning the game at 3-1, and of course picking up Raheem Sterling's second trophy of the video. Back into the FA Cup now, and we are into round 5 up against Chelsea, and we did manage to beat them 2-1. Into the next round, and we do come up against Leeds, and we do get yet another 2-1 win. Into the semi-final as we have a big game up against Aston Villa, and we do manage to obliterate them 3-1. Saka can't stop scoring. Into the Europa League now, and we did get through into the round of 16, and we do come up against Lille, and we do draw the first game 2-2, although in the second game we do manage to get through, beating them 4-3 on aggregate. Into the quarter-finals as we come up against Real Betis, and the first leg is just a 1-1 draw, although in the second leg we do obliterate them 4-2 on aggregate. Into the semi-finals as we come up against Wolfsburg, and we do actually lose the first game 2-1, although thankfully in the second leg we do recover it as we beat them 2-0, managing to of course beat them 3-2 on aggregate. Into the final of the FA Cup now, and we have surprising opponents as we come up against QPR, and it was a good game for Arsenal, of course starting off strong. Raheem Sterling slotting it into Ødegaard, and Ødegaard managing to make it 1-0, and later on Raheem Sterling was slotted through, having way too much space, and of course it was way too easy for him, making it 2-0 here for Arsenal. And just to finish them off, Saka did slot through Kai Havertz, who of course sprinted through, slotting it into the back of the net, making it 3-0 for Arsenal, of course managing to win the game and picking up yet another trophy for Raheem Sterling. Moving into the Europa League final now though, and we do come up against Juventus. Raheem Sterling up this wing, chipping it over to Kai Havertz. It does not work though, it's come back to Raheem Sterling. He's whipped it back in again. Saka though, not this time, out to Declan Rice, and again it's blocked. Nice, Raheem Sterling slotted through. He's got some options inside if it's needed. Ødegaard is there, and Ødegaard slots it home. Way too easy in the 24th minute, making it 1-0 for Arsenal. Nice, Raheem Sterling up this wing. He's just left his man on the floor. Raheem Sterling dribbling inside. Oh, unfortunately tackled. Vlahovic in the box, goes for goal. Nice. Kai Havertz through. Surely that's going to be a goal, and Kai Havertz makes it 2-0 here for Arsenal. Nice. Raheem Sterling making a nice little run here. His stamina is completely gone though. Still Raheem Sterling inside, and Raheem Sterling, although he had no stamina left at all, managing to make it 3-0 for Arsenal. And there we go, game over, and Arsenal have picked up yet another trophy. And it is a big one in the Europa League. End of the season now, and Arsenal have managed to finish in the Champions League position this season as they finish in 4th place. Of course, losing out on the Community Shield, losing to Manchester City. We did manage to pick up the FA Cup, as of course we beat QPR 3-0. We did manage to get revenge on Manchester City, as we did beat them in the Carabao Cup 3-1. And of course we did win the Europa League, completely obliterating Juventus 3-0. And Raheem Sterling is back up to his highest rated in FIFA, as he is now up to an 88 overall at 31 years of age. And it's been a very impressive season for Raheem Sterling. He's had 71 appearances, which is just ridiculous, although in that he has had 24 goals and 15 assists, which of course is pretty impressive. And that must have been enough to impress Thomas Tuchel, as we are getting called up to the England team for the World Cup. Kicking off the World Cup, and we do come up against Ireland, and we do actually lose our first game 1-0. Our second game of the group stage, and we do come up against United States, and we do actually win 3-2 this time. And the third game of the group stage, we do come up against Scotland, and we do manage to get a good result this time as we beat them 3-0. Of course, into the round of 16, we come up against Morocco, and we do manage to beat them 2-0 with Raheem Sterling scoring. Into the quarter-finals of the World Cup, and we come up against Northern Ireland, and we do manage to obliterate them 3-0. Of course, we are into the semi-finals now, and it is by far the hardest game as we come up against France, and we do actually manage to obliterate them 3-1. Into the final now, and we do come up against Portugal, arguably one of the biggest games of Raheem Sterling's career, and definitely of this video. Nice. Raheem Sterling up this wing very early on. Wicks it out to Saka. He can't get to it though. Kincaid? No, he can't. Oh no. Portugal could be through. Ramos, nice save. Sterling through here. That is a nice little ball. He could be through here. The defenders are doing nothing. They can't catch him. It's still Raheem Sterling, and Raheem Sterling makes it 1-0 in just the 16th minute for England. Raheem Sterling up this wing, over to Harry Kane. Kane goes for goal. It's a nice save. Nice. Raheem Sterling, that is unbelievable. Still Raheem. Oh, it's got blocked. Trent has got some space here. He's managed to beat his man, actually. He could be through on goal. He is. So the defender's gone off him. He's one-on-one with the keeper. And he hits the post. There's no way. Oh, no. Portugal have got a very good chance here with Ramos. And, of course, he's going to slot that in. That's made way too easy for him. No way. Ramos could be through again. No, that's an awful shot, but it's still a decent save. Nice. Raheem Sterling up this wing into Bellingham. Surely he's going to finish at Bellingham. Saved by the keeper. Nice. We could have potentially one more chance here. Bellingham is making a nice little run. It's still Jude Bellingham. Bellingham through on goal, and Bellingham manages to slot it into the back of the net in the 92nd minute. Surely that is going to be game over and a win for England. And there we go. It is indeed the final whistle, and England have managed to win the World Cup final with goals from both Raheem Sterling and Jude Bellingham. Of course, here we go. It's another trophy for Raheem Sterling, and it is arguably the biggest of his entire career. And just for that, on the back of winning the treble with Arsenal and now walking away with the World Cup, Raheem Sterling's career is definitely well and truly saved.